Hey everyone, how's it going? Truman here. Today I want to talk about the Funimation Crunchyroll merger. Funimation is effectively dead, at least when it comes to streaming anime. And there's a lot to talk about. As always, we have a lot of tabs here. Last time I did an off-the-cuff video, one person suggested maybe I do a drawing video, so whatever it is here, it's probably going to be like a cute girl. So enjoy that while we go through all of the news and then my personal opinion about Funimation. Spoiler alert, I don't like them very much. Funimation content moving to Crunchyroll for the world's largest anime library. Now, to be honest, I do particularly like this. Now, there's the idea that a monopoly would be created by this, and let's be honest, this is all owned by Sony too. Sony bought both Crunchyroll and Funimation. And so now Sony has this huge, massive anime streaming service. Yeah, it's a monopoly, but what realistic competition could even arise? All the other anime streaming services never go anywhere. For one, licensing anime, especially to the volume of Crunchyroll, is expensive and time consuming. And then you also have to build a streaming platform that's going to innovate on top of them. How many people are going to do that when they could just move to the more popular person? And this is what it really is. The market has chosen Crunchyroll. And to be honest, I don't want to have to go to 3 to 4 different streaming services just to see anime, especially just one, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on Netflix, or any other anime that's going to be exclusive to one streaming site. I'd rather have it all in one place. I think this is one of the reasons why Toonami was so popular, albeit that it was mainly shonen focused, but it was a good diverse amount of anime that really set the groundwork for anime in the western side of the world. So the idea of this being a monopoly is an issue that we would have to tackle on a whole different video, and monopolies in general, because look at Microsoft that just bought Activision Blizzard. That's like a huge big deal. The people who make Call of Duty and then their Blizzard properties too. This is a big thing. And unfortunately, in the dystopian future I see, we're only going to be surrounded by monopolies. Because at the end of the day, convenience is what sells. If you can get all your anime from a one-stop shop, then why would you go to any other competitor? I guess we're talking about monopolies right now. Allow me to have this little field trip. Look at streaming, right? You either go to Twitch or YouTube. Mixer died. There's other ones that I can't even think of off the top of my head, but I remember all of them that just come and go. And Mixer was pretty innovative for its time, but no one wanted to go to Mixer because they were already comfortable with one product. I do feel for the people who say this is going to create a monopoly, but let's be real about it. People aren't. The general average consumer just wants their stuff in one place. And it's unfortunate that this will cause a staggering of innovation. Crunchyroll's apps don't work. They really just don't work. I watch my anime on my PlayStation 4, and Crunchyroll's app rarely ever works. Rarely. Every other day I have to sign back into my account, even if I was using it just the other day. Why is that the case? Alright, we need to move on because I feel like I could rant about this for hours. The people who have already had subscriptions to Funimation streaming service will get 60 days free for Crunchyroll, which is nice. I feel like it should be way longer than that, counting on like how long you had your account. But I mean, it's better than like a week trial. For me, I never bought into Funimation streaming service. I really just didn't want to. There were not enough exclusives for me to say, yeah, I'll pay enough on top of Crunchyroll to get like a Funimation account. If there was one thing on Funimation's site, well, I'll put it in this way. I would go try to find the One Piece. I'll leave it at that. I just want to read out some comments from the announcement itself. The only time when a monopoly is morally correct. Thanks, Crunchyroll. Please don't nuke the comment section on anime. Funimation removed comments and it really felt like it destroyed my sense of community for the anime I watch. And I hope they don't. I feel like everyone should have a place to say something, but the more corporate we get, the more your opinion won't matter to companies. Because at the end of the day, they're just going to say shut up and consume. Which I mean is what they want. Personally for me, I don't care. I don't really like the sense of community, at least the anime community. I find myself getting into arguments really easily. I'm kind of an asshole. As I question people a lot, is my debater personality. I like prodding the flame a bit too much. So for me, a sense of community, I don't know, I just don't fit in with any community. I really feel like I'm kind of like an outlier in that case. Like, I don't like the idea of community at all. I like you guys though, who are watching my videos and leave comments consistently. I like you guys. It's selfish of me to say that, but you know, it is what it is. This is a comment that I had in my head that spurred this video anyway. I'm surprised to hear this. I was always under the impression that Crunchy would merge into Funny. I'm glad it went in this direction though. I like the Crunchy logo and the mascot much more. I think Crunchyroll has a stronger brand appeal, but the biggest issue for Funimation is that his name is tarnished by a bunch of really stupid stuff. Not just stupid stuff, but real crimes also. Funimation's name, despite being around for 20 years, is dead. And I'm glad, I mean, I'm gonna hope we don't see that Funimation logo. Some of you might be older audience members. Well, you can maybe remember the Funimation intro, the dun dun dun.
Funimation Entertainment.
You should be watching. I hated it so much. This is going to be horrible for anime fans. Sony is infamous for their censorship. For the massive censorship to happen, I think the studios will have to put their hands in Sony's pockets. It could be censorship solely on the streaming site itself. Look at Shumatsu no Harum, which is like a new anime that came out that's totally butchered with censorship. If it's an adult anime, why are we not showing it for adults? They even censored a kiss scene. And this is what gets me about Sony and their censorship, is that they're so heavy-handed with it, especially with Japanese works. Look at The Last of Us 2, where they had an open sex scene. It's not long, for sure, but like, I don't see any Japanese games that show an actual characters having sex. It's a lot of fan service for sure, and maybe the fact that anime characters are generally, you know, high school age or a little older is a point of contention. But then just rate it M for mature. If you're an adult, you should be able to buy adult material, and it's up to the adult to differentiate fantasy from reality. If you're an adult who can't do that, then that's a problem on your own end. But maybe our more modern censorship is trying to curb that. I don't know. Again, it's another topic that we can go deep into. Now that you guys have such an extensive library and the majority of anime content, I feel like it's time for you to update the player and truly make this play the Netflix of anime. You should make it easier to change between dubs and subs in the middle of playing. I think that's not going to happen. I don't know, like if your intention is to watch a dub, then watch the dub. If your intention is to watch a sub, then do so. You should make it easy to skip intros and make it much quicker to move into new episodes. You really owe it to the people here to give it your all, because you pretty much hold all the anime content now. Make this place incredibly easy to traverse. If this requires you to create things from scratch, I think it'd be a task worth undertaking. I sort of agree, but again, this is where we kind of get to the monopoly thing. Will they do it? I mean, people are already here, right? Will they add more options? Now I want to go over the titles that are now available on Crunchyroll. Maybe some quick opinions on the new anime that have come. As for the most part, I thought Funimation had mainly old anime that they were holding on to. I mean, they're 20 years old, so they would obviously have really old anime. But for the most part, we're getting a lot of dubs. I was watching this one on Hulu, Akudama Drive. I was watching the dub version of it. Some of the creative minds behind Danganronpa were involved with creating this show. I was only a few episodes in, so now that it's on Crunchyroll, I might just like finish the whole thing. Good news for Black Clover fans, the whole dub is out, all 170 episodes. So if you like the dub, there you go. Cautious Hero is another anime I wanted to see. I had never really got a chance to see it, and so now the dub and sub are here. And now that Cowboy Bebop is here, maybe I can actually finally do a comparison between the live action and the anime. I really am rusty with my Cowboy Bebop stuff, and I was just not willing to go out of my way to download all the episodes. So maybe this would be a good opportunity. I don't know. The My Hero Academia dub is here. And even Uzaki-chan, the show that I believe Funimation hated the most. I think they grabbed this show and throughout the whole series, they just subbed and dubbed it out of spite. Because it really feels like they didn't care about it at all. Especially when it seems like certain people were shitting on Uzaki-chan, when in reality, it's just a generic slice of life show. Like, there was nothing to really get upset about it. This went on for months. The Uzaki hate and the Uzaki defenders, both sides fighting against each other over generally a pretty mediocre show. Wonder Egg Priority, I wanted to actually see that one. I haven't seen it yet. And then Yu Yu Hakusho is here as well, which is good, because now I can finally catch back up on that. I was rewatching it some time ago, but I never got the chance to finish it. Here we have a release calendar, and we can see on Tuesday, they updated with a lot of anime. You can just see it goes on and on forever. There's a lot of anime that was added. Now we can move on from that. That's the general idea of the merger, what's been added. And with this, 80% of Funimation's catalog has been added to Crunchyroll now. And by the end of March, the whole collection should be there. And this is pretty much leaving Funimation's website defunct. There's no reason to get a premium account at all, which is weird because they still advertise it. They should just get rid of this. You can even see it at the bottom right here, $8 a month for all the anime you want. But like, there's legitimately no reason to do it anymore. Luckily, we can see here this really nice art of Crunchyroll Hime. I like all of the art that has come out from this merger. If anything, that's like probably my favorite part. This is amazing art. And the only thing I can now think of is, what would Funimation even be used for? I would assume physical media, right? Like, you can buy anime for a good price on Crunchyroll. This is Luck and Logic. I watched this whole show. Somehow I don't remember anything about it though. I remember the character designs and that's it. Yeah, $17 for the complete series is pretty good though. You know, we don't live in a time anymore where buying anime stuff was super expensive. I remember back then when I was in middle school or so and going to Best Buy and they had an anime section. Funny enough, they had hentai on there as well, which is weird, but whatever. But anime movies, like whole box sets, were super expensive. And unfortunately, I don't know how much buying like a dub version or even Crunchyroll's version of an anime DVD or Blu-ray supports the industry. I would say do your research on your own, because that's really where it gets down to. How do we support the anime industry the best way possible? Because that's what I really care about. I care about supporting the industry. Even the industry is eating itself alive with how much anime is being produced. I do care about supporting the studios I believe that need the support. I want to reward studios that give me excellent anime, like the visual appeal of Demon Slayer, or the charmingness of anything that has come out of Trigger. I understand that it's way more complicated than that, like the money won't just go into the studio's pockets. And it's blind faith to say I hope that Japanese studios will have the integrity, like what From Software just did with Elden Ring with the success. They gave their employees a raise because of it. I'm hoping that kind of integrity will translate into the anime industry, but you know, it's just wishful thinking. So again, I can only imagine that Funimation's website would only exist for physical media purchases, as streaming on there is effectively dead. But like, let's look at Netflix, right? Netflix is only streaming as well, and look how well they're doing. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Netflix sells DVDs, right? We made a lot of detours, but I want to just track back to why would Crunchyroll be taking all the Funimation stuff and not vice versa? Well, that's because Crunchyroll has the better branding. It's become synonymous with viewing anime. Again, I wish navigation on Crunchyroll was a bit easier, especially on its apps. All of Crunchyroll's apps need a major rehaul. First and foremost, they need the goddamn work. I think Crunchyroll Hime is also a really good mascot. They've made her into a VTuber, and she even does watch parties. You watch anime on Crunchyroll, or well, her channel. But like, think about that. People love reactionary content. And what better place to put out anime episodes that you own on your streaming site on your own channel? Is a great way to get people into new anime. So someone behind Crunchyroll's marketing really knows what they're doing. Crunchyroll also has games, but really these are just mobile games. I heard Princess Connect Redive had a pretty bad launch and people are upset of Crunchyroll's decisions behind the game. I really haven't played it myself. I'm not too much of a fan of auto games. Another short detour here, but I run another channel called Blue Riser, which is totally about mobile games. I've reviewed up to, I want to say 50 or 60 mobile games, because I feel like an honest representation of the mobile games is really important, and normally I would play a game for at least 7 days before giving my opinion on it, because mobile games are notorious for tricking people into a honeymoon phase where they think everything is good and they get you to spend. I myself was a former dolphin of Fire Emblem Heroes. I didn't spend as much money as Whales did, but I spent a good amount of money I probably never should have. Now, albeit it was for content, but still, at that time I didn't know how predatory these games were, and I wanted to just open people's mind to it. We should always be rewarding the really good developers, and not the lazy ones who want to sell you loot boxes over and over and over again with really bad rates. Now, before I jump into why I don't like Funimation and the many reasons why, or maybe I feel like it's probably like 5 or 4 reasons, Crunchyroll is not perfect. I mean, no company is, nothing is. Look at the flop that was High Guardian Spice, or any of their other originals that really took off nowhere. But I think one of the main points of contention is how Crunchyroll underpays its translators, and we're going to use a guy who's way smarter than me, Kanipa Effect, in his video to explain a little bit more about this.
$80 an episode. I've known that number for years. It's the amount that Crunchyroll has paid translators for years. If this is the first you're hearing about it, it's not surprising. It's definitely possible that Crunchyroll has a non-disparagement agreement baked into their contracts with translators, because this work is somewhat irregular and entirely dependent on how dialogue heavy an episode might be. In speaking to translators, this could be a few hours, or it could be a couple days. You could find that in trying to translate a mecha show, you've just spent the last 6 hours reading engineering textbooks, or alternatively, you're lucked out and it's just 2 characters fighting for 20 minutes. Compared to their competitors in the anime streaming game, Crunchyroll pays either less than half or less than a third of their competitors' rates. Because a great translator doesn't just have an understanding of both languages, they also have to be great at writing themselves. It's not a word-to-word process. You're not translating individual words, rather you're understanding the intent behind those words and attempting to recreate them as if the screenwriter was fluent in English. Honestly, when I've spoken to them and asked why they do it, I have consistently gotten one singular answer: because they love anime and love to work on it. And unfortunately, that's how all this got started. That's how the rates got so low. That's how an industry now controlled by AT&T and Sony is paying scraps to anime's most essential workforce. These are anime's essential workers. The entire English-speaking anime industry is built on their shoulders.
Honestly, if they're taking in Funimation, they're probably going to take some of their staff as well. And this could be a huge issue. If they have more staff, they're going to start probably paying people less. So where this goes, who knows, but I'm really going to hope that they treat their translators a little better. And while Kaniba's video only came out in 2020, I can't imagine that the landscape has changed too much in the span of 2 years. Especially with the amount of anime that has come out and keeps coming out every single season. But with that, let's talk about Funimation. And I'm just going to use a few clips from Anime America here to give a little context to the issues I want to talk about, or at least some of them. They'll list a little bit more that I have really no information about.
To put this as simply as possible, when you compare every single streaming service together, Funimation has the worst reputation, whether you agree with this or not. Fans have ridiculed their website as being cheap and glitchy. They have an app that would constantly crash. They usually have the worst customer service, had horrible region locking restrictions that only prompted more people to pirate anime, suddenly stopped showcasing an anime because they suddenly had standards, would replace their dialogue and even subtitles to present themselves as modern for the Western audience, and they became known as the streaming service that removed the unsubscribe button during the whole Vic Mignogna incident.
But before we talk about the negative, I want to at least bring up some positive, and that being the man that was Christopher Ayres. I actually met him at Katsucon. It's an anime convention held on the East Coast. It was him and another voice actress. I believe she voices the main character for Haruka no Mirai or something like that. It's a Kyo Annie anime. It's pretty old too at this point. But Chris here is saying girls just want to have fun. And after the performance, I decided to draw some fan art of him as Frieza singing the song, and he even retweeted me, which was really crazy. Overall, he seemed like a very nice guy. I just want to give him a good rest in peace. His legacy as Frieza will live on forever. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the nasty. We're first going to talk about Crunchyroll's lack of respect when it comes to adapting from sub to dub. We're going to use once again another person way smarter than me, the Cartoon Cypher's video on what may happen when they're writing dubs for shows and where it fails and sometimes where it's good though. I'm not going to include a lot of clips, so I would really say go out and watch it yourself. The video's around 30 minutes long. It's a really nice video.
I don't think the people who made dubs like Cowboy Bebop, Black Lagoon, Fooly Cooly, or even Yu Yu Hakusho were aware that at the time, they were creating gold standards for fans and industry folk alike. If you've seen this image online before or others like it, you probably already know what we're going to be talking about today.
何ですかその格好。いつも言われるから露出度を抑えたんだ。どうかな。次は体を変えるといいですよ。
Lukua, for example, is a soft-spoken, ara-ara type of character, who isn't always aware of how lewd others find her despite her best efforts to be nice. And that's what this line in episode 12 feels like, Lukua taking other people's feelings into consideration, while the dubbed version of this scene is a little bit more aggressive.
What are you wearing that for?
Oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves, so I changed clothes.
Give it a week, they'll be begging you to change back.
Huh?
This take makes it seem like Lukua covered up because she felt pressured to, rather than because she wanted to. And the gentle tone she says it with almost makes it sound sarcastic. The dragons in general are meant to be out of touch, so this line kind of flies in the face of one of the show's main conceits. Maybe some people who hadn't seen the subbed version could have found the joke funny on its own, but even then, patriarchal societal demands is a very charged phrase. Because yeah, Dragon Maid definitely exhibits some of the problems of the industry that we're still kinda dealing with 15 seasons later. The consequences of taking too many liberties with writing, not taking time to sit with the material properly, etc. However, if we genuinely want to see the industry improve, a handful of lines from years ago can't be the only thing we keep talking about anymore. There's a lot more right and wrong with the dub of Dragon Maid. So to get to the heart of it, you need to go beyond the dragon titties. This has been the Cartoon Cypher, and Till next time.
My biggest issue is that when you're adapting material, I think you should respect what the original intention was. No matter what, even if you're against the message of the show, I think most people, most reasonable adults, can tell that you don't sponsor said content. It's literally just a show. It's a piece of fiction written by someone else. And at the very least, we can respect the intention of the original author. As when we take liberties rewriting characters, we might end up straying for what their character was initially supposed to be, or even the narrative itself. And that's why for me, I'll always do a first impression of an anime from the sub itself. And luckily, because I can pick up on a little bit of Japanese vocabulary, I don't need the sub 100% to understand what the characters are saying. And even then, if the sub is unfaithfully translated, I can use my own information in my head to fill in what might have been mistranslated. By far, Funimation's subs and dubs aren't the biggest issue though, as for the most part, they're pretty innocuous when it comes to translating most things. It's just sometimes they go really heavy-handed and it rubs me the wrong way, as a political message should never really be part of the show if it was never intended. And shoehorning politics into anime of all things is ridiculous. But that's it for the sub and dubs. Overall an issue which I hope Funimation staff doesn't bleed into Crunchyroll and start taking over in that aspect. Next up we have the utter shit show that is the Vic Mignogna case. I'll just allow my personal bias to show real quick. I am a fan of Vic Mignogna's work as Broly and Obito from Naruto, Obito being one of my favorite roles he had. But overall, I think he's a great voice actor. It's a shame his work has slowed down to pretty much a halt because of this whole case. Yet his career was destroyed by allegations. Whether they right or wrong, I really don't know anymore. The case itself is crazy enough, and I don't think I even have enough time, nor do I want to in this video talk about the whole thing. But the case itself is an utter travesty on Funimation's name. For moments like this during his deposition.
What about the Fuhrer? You ever go by the nickname the Fuhrer?
No.
Do you know if your mother ever referred to you as the Fuhrer? Is your reputation as a voice actor, is that important to you?
Yes.
Why?
My reputation in general is important to me.
Well, Jack is not responsible. Is your reputation as a voice actor important to you?
Of course.
Okay, why?
Because it reflects on me as a person, it reflects on me as a professional in a field.
Are you usually in a room of the same size that we're in right now?
The sizes of the rooms vary.
Are they bigger or smaller than the room we're in?
They vary.
Well, are they bigger or smaller in this room?
They vary.
And you understand that there are people who have accused you of inappropriate acts that have not disclosed their names. You're aware of that?
Yes.
And would you agree with me that you, because they want to maintain their privacy, you would not want those names disclosed publicly?
I believe that someone who makes accusations publicly, especially with the intention of destroying someone's reputation or job, at least should be identified. I don't believe somebody should have the power to destroy someone and remain safely anonymous.
Think you're a pretty good judge of character of people?
Apparently not. I thought I was.
And when did you start to doubt your ability to judge people's character?
When people that I have known for many, many years who have treated me publicly, privately, to my face, in dozens of settings as friends, and then spent the last 5 months trying to ruin my career and reputation.
So people like Amanda Wynn Lee, who said crazy things like this: "You poor stupid girl, I hope when it happens to you, and it will if it hasn't already, that you find the kindness and compassion that you lack towards the victims right now." Amanda Wynn Lee voiced Yukiko Amagi from Persona 4, and she's done a few other major roles. I believe Rei Ayanami from Neon Genesis, I could be wrong on that. But overall, this is a Funimation voice actor kind of going crazy, saying, "I hope you get sexually assaulted, and that it will happen if it hasn't already." What kind of world do we live in where this is okay to say at any point in time? Or even clips of her roasting Vic, courtesy of Memology 101.
Vic's not here, but you know what? None of the little 14-year-olds let him grab willing participants, so fuck him! Now, fair enough. Well, you might be surprised to hear that I stand with Vic. Because if you sit next to him, it's harder to escape. Then there's Chuck. Chuck Huber. I give 0 fucks. If Vic wasn't such a douchebag, I would say that I'm impressed by his fundraising abilities. I haven't seen that many kids grifted it out of their allowance since the Nintendo Switch came out.
And these are just more allegations, but what about Funimation apparently having a casting couch? I don't see it as too far-fetched. Again, allegations. But all of these things tarnish Funimation's name. Or how about the accusations of a Funimation voice actor, Chris Thurman, sending a 15-year-old a picture of his dick? While only an accusation at the time, he then would admit it. And let's be real, Chris Thurman was a nobody when it came to voice acting, a literal who. So allow us to take another field trip and jump into the insanity that was this Chris Thurman DMs with an apparent 15-year-old. This section might be long, so of course there will be chapters, you can skip ahead through it if you need to. What the fuck? OMG, how do I delete this? I'm so sorry. Oh my, I swear to God I did not mean to do this. I put my phone in my pocket? What in the world? Okay, I figured it out. Holy shit, I'm so sorry. That was not intentional. Lol, that's okay. Could have happened to anyone. Don't worry. Ahahaha, yeah, but it could have been a different pick. Jesus, Lamau. Lol, don't worry about it. Okay, haha, it was just embarrassing AF. I've sent things on accident too, no worries. I can imagine. I mean, I'm single, but I wasn't trying for that, lol. Also, what was that reaction? Well, we were having a normal convo and then, haha, bam. Bam, huh? Yeah, that was pretty random. No real way to prepare for that. I would just think someone would be like, huh? WTF? Lamau, that's pretty funny. Like, I know you wouldn't actually send me something like that, so I didn't want to make you feel weird. I was just surprised. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Why were you surprised? Did you think I was a girl? I know what you mean. Lamau, but wow, haha. Nah, I don't feel weird anymore. I'm just embracing it at this point. I mean, it happened. Can't change that. I just hope you don't see me too differently after seeing, that part of me. Unless it's a good different, Lamau. Nope, I don't see you differently at all. I still can't believe it happened though. Discord is so weird. Yeah, I know, right? Discord really trying to put me out there apparently. Sorry to get TMI, but I think we're already there. Doesn't help that it's not necessarily something I'm proud of. I'm honestly not really super down on myself that often. Just I've always thought it wasn't really that big. Guess I'm going there, lol. And then recent stuff of course, but other than that, I'm okay. Gonna be honest, I've never seen too many of them. I thought it was okay. God, that sounds so weird, haha. But really Chris, don't let that stuff bring you down. There's plenty of great things about you that easily even out the things that you may be insecure about. You're too nice, hahaha. And nah, that's okay, you can say that. Thanks. I haven't really measured TBH, lol, but like, IDK, it might be as long as your forearm, wrist to your elbow, and like fingers across thick, lol, I guess that's okay. To each their own of course, I just never really understood. Sorry, I'm still pretty young. Well actually, I guess if I really think about it, I understand. Never mind. Oh yeah, it's definitely a size thing for sure, lol. We are always insecure about it. Yeah, how young are you? I'm just wondering. I'm 15. Haha. Dude, I thought you were maybe 17 or 18. I'm 15. Glad I didn't send that on purpose and immediately have a SWAT teams and cop cars bust through my windows. You seem a little older, in a good way. Oh well, happy early birthday, haha. Yeah, but it's definitely insecurity. Like even when I was with my girlfriend, she would tell me I'm huge actually. I always thought she was only saying that to make me feel good though. So there's almost always something, Lamau. But like, wrist to forearm is like 9 inches, right? Yeah, maybe. 3 fingers thick, maybe 4 for you. IDK, I have sausage hands. I think you're okay. Well, thank you. I guess I get two-handed now that I think about it. And my ex couldn't get past my head with her mouth. I always just thought she wasn't experienced though. Lol, cause that's the thing I bet. Yeah, maybe. What's that? Sorry, I have a habit of gibberishing? Lol? Keyboard smashing when things are awkward. Not that things are awkward, just, how do I respond? Lol, it's okay. You can tell me. I won't get offended by whatever, lol. Alright, sorry if I get annoying or anything, it's just a habit. Nah, you don't get annoying at all, Lamau. Not at all. I just sometimes see it and wondering why you're all squirmy, haha, but I guess you explained it, it's awkward. Or whatever it would be, not that things are awkward. Sorry if I told you more than you wanted to know. No worries, man. Yeah, and sorry to talk about it more, I swear I'll stop. But just saying, it was kind of encouraging to hear an outside opinion on it. It being a good one. As much as I thought I didn't want that. I'm really glad to hear that, and that I could help even if it's just a little. You can call me 9-inch Maestro. Okay, done, lol. LMAO, I'll keep that in mind and thank you. Lol, no problem, and I just measured it. I'm 8.5 inches long and 3 inches thick. Huh, guess you never know until you try. Oh, I hear the average is 5.3 inches, that's good. Oh, yeah, I guess, haha. Wow. I'm blown away, a real voice actor. What's it like? A real voice actor? But it's great. I mean, I only started doing this in 2009. That's cool, it really is. Thank you. It's quite fun. Hopefully I'll get a main cast someday. I wholeheartedly believe in you, Chris. Thank you. So yes, a Funimation actor showed you their cock. It happened, LMAO. It indeed happened, Chris. It indeed happened. Can you see the absolute absurdity of this? It's really stupid. It's really dumb. A literal nobody in voice acting, and he decides to say a Funimation actor. As if he was really like a big actor. This isn't like Chris Sava or Monica Real. None of that. It's Chris Thurman. I've already forgotten his name. But it's incredibly dumb. Funimation's name is even more tarnished with Scott Freeman, who was arrested and convicted on 8 counts of possession of CP. So I'm not surprised why Funimation merged into Crunchyroll, because their name is in the dirt. I'm sure there are far more issues that people have with Funimation. These are just some of the ones that come off on the top of my head. Now, the voice actors can sometimes be shitty assholes. And the treatment of Vic through allegations while you had 2 people who were actually sexual predators with real evidence behind it. Of course, they got punished, but just look at it in stark contrast of the allegations that happened to Vic. Some might say they all need to go, even through just allegation alone. I feel like there probably is a lot more nuance to it. Again, I don't want to go over the whole Vic case. I'm rusty on it, so I'll probably get some misinformation out there, and I'd rather not do that. And as Sony decides to eat up the anime industry, all I can say is, Funimation, see you later. I won't miss you.